Doomsday 3.
Yeah, we had Doomsday 1.
No question in my mind.
We came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, most of this country, of course.
On the defense, talking about it. You better get your ass the ball. You better get the ball.
I just gotta say, when it comes to Dallas,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
This guy gets on you.
Father from and then I go to bed every night like TG, man, I promise you that we got a special Yeah, what is up, Cowboys Nation? Hopefully you guys are having a great Sunday. I had a lot of fun. Did a couple shows on Saturday. I think I told you guys my wife is out of town, so this is what I do. I spend time in the cave, and unfortunately, there's been better days with the Cowboys. But hey, we've had over 120 new subscribers in the last 2 weeks. So much thanks to you guys. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure leave a comment or leave a little thing in the chat saying, hey, man, first time listening to you guys, because we do appreciate it. I don't know if you guys just love the misery and misery loves company, so that's why you guys are all subscribing, or you're just enjoying the content. Hopefully it's a little bit of both, but we're going to get through it. And got my man Greg, as usual, on a Sunday morning. Hopefully you're doing well. You're still wearing some Cowboy stuff, so I'm glad to see you ain't jumped ship yet on us.
No, we had a record-breaking 8.5 inches of snow up here on the Panhandle, and it hadn't happened since 1895. And back then, it was only 3 inches. And I don't know if people saw my video on TikTok, but I was out there in my throwback starter gear and doing snow angels. Because you know me, I'm gonna represent. I don't care, rain, snow, hell, or high water. I'm representing.
Yeah. It's and it's just been crazy. Getting to the season, you get into the off season. Obviously, we've got a new coach. Very, odd. The decision was announced on a Friday night, late Friday night. I was in bed. You understand? I was sleeping, trying to go to sleep, and then my phone's blowing up, and breaking news, and we got a new coach. So. Typically, when the Cowboys want to make a move, it's prime time. It's get things rolling. So I don't know if they're not crazy about the move or they tried to sweep it under the rug because I think they felt the backlash. And I just want to say, with the backlash that I have or frustration I have, and I don't want to speak for you, but maybe some of the Cowboy fans. It's not so much Brian Schottenheimer. I think he's a qualified guy. He's been in the league a long time. He's been a coordinator a long time. He's worked under some great head coaches. His father was a phenomenal head coach, a legend, in his time. So he's got it in the bloodline. So it has nothing to do with that. It's just kind of the culture change. And we're going to get into that a lot because I have a clip, and I saw someone said Michael Irvin's pissed. Well, I got a little clip of that, and we're going to talk about it. But Friday night, Greg, where were you when you heard the news, and what was your first reaction?
Friday night, I was out at dinner, and my cousin Dexter Henderson in Marianna, Florida, diehard Chicago Bears fan. Dexter texts me. He says, Marty Schottenheimer. And he says, you're going to get Eberflus as your DC, and we're getting Al Harris. Yeah. And I almost dropped my fork. I
like Eberflus. I'm just going to be straight with you. And it's not announced. I'll take him over Al Harris as our DC. That's just me.
I almost dropped my fork because it was like the Saturday Night Massacre. You're right. We do things on prime time because Jerry loves the attention. Schottenheimer comes in. I'm thinking, okay, if Schottenheimer comes in, then that means the roots don't get cleaned up. Yeah. Because the roots are the culture. So that means the roots stay the same if we bring Schottenheimer. Then I said, Jerry did it again. He went and got him a yes man.
Yeah.
Then I said, okay, Schottenheimer's going to come in. He's probably already friends with a lot of players because he's been there. He's supposed to have been the offensive coordinator, but he wasn't coordinating the damn thing with us. He basically was getting a paycheck just to stand around while Mike McCarthy be the offensive coordinator. So I said,
I'm going to disagree with you there, but go ahead.
But so Jerry did exactly what we all hoped that he wouldn't do after all the attention he got this year. We figured he would say, I finally got it through my brick head that I need to change. And Jerry did exactly what I said. I don't care what nobody thinks. I'm still going to do it my way, period. And he did. And as far as I'm concerned, Schottenheimer may be a good guy. He falls from a great tree, his father, who I highly admire. But he's not going to change the culture. And for what I understand, him and Dak really are kind of close. And if Dak had any influence on it, it's because Dak don't want a disciplinarian in there because they want to continue to be coddled like babies. And if you want to be coddled like babies and they want to get away with going to games and not showing up until they need to, doing what they want to be and not committed, they got exactly what they want to get. And as far as I'm concerned, Mike, it's not so much Schottenheimer that I think is a mess. It's the culture that's not going to be changed, the yes man attitude that Jerry got where he can control Schottenheimer. And I think we are in big damn trouble. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's where my issue is more on the culture side of it. And obviously I'm a big fan of Michael Irvin, and, and I'm sure you are too. And most people in the chat.
Oh, most definitely.
And I saw Steve's comment. If you didn't know who Brian Schottenheimer is, and you're just maybe a casual football fan, he's been around for 14 years. His father was a legendary coach. Schottenheimer was with Seattle. He was with the Jets. Obviously, he was with the Cowboys. He was with his dad when he was in Washington. So he's been around the league a long time. Yeah. He's very well thought of as a coach. And you're not coaching in the NFL for 14 years and being an OC and doing all that stuff if you're a shitty coach. Again, my problem is not with Brian Schottenheimer, not with him at all. If he got a job coaching the Bears, the Saints, or whoever else, there wouldn't be a whole lot of negativity towards him. I think the problem is the culture. And that's where I want to get with what the playmaker said, because what he said, and I got to kind of move some stuff around here so we can get it right. So I'm going to move you over there, Greg, for a minute. He shared his thoughts, and hopefully you guys can hear this. It's about 3 minutes long, so give it a minute. But this is everything Irvin's saying is exactly how I feel, and exactly the issue I have with the hire, not the person, the hire.
I don't know the man, but I do know man, and I know man. I know when you are within an organization and you get promoted within that organization. And I know that the Dallas Cowboys right now, they don't have curfew. So let me give you that. They don't have curfew. They don't have discipline. We were fourth in penalties this year. So how do you fix that? You go and be more disciplined, or be more of a disciplinarian? How do you do that when you're coming from inside? Because when you start saying, hey, you jump off sides now, we're going to fine you. You jump off sides, we're going to penalize you. Jump off sides, you're going to have to go do some running. And everybody going to say, oh, man, you're going to start acting like an asshole after we got you the job? That's what you're going to do. If you say, okay, we haven't been meeting at night. We leave Saturday afternoon at 1:30, people, for a 3 p.m. Sunday game. I'll see you at the game on 3 p.m. Sunday. Do y'all understand? Everybody else, they show up at a hotel Saturday night at 6 p.m. This is what we did. We have dinner till about 7:30. Then we're going to go have meetings and watch film till about 9. We'll get us a snack. About 9:30, we're going to go in the room, play cards, hang out for a minute. The whole damn while we're talking game plan and what we must do. It's a promise made, one man to another. I will get my damn job done today. That's how you win championships. And you make the promise over and over to each other. You make it when you're with each other. And if you're not creating these times together, when the fuck you gonna make these promises? You talk all off season about money. You don't talk about winning. And then when it's time to be talking football, you got everybody home, sitting at home. Now Brian's going to come in. What is he going to say? We're going to start showing up at the hotel. We're going to have curfew. They're going to say it again. Oh, man, what you doing, dog? Oh, okay, nigga, you going to change like this on us? This how you going to change? Oh, we got you the job. That's what they're going to say. And now you're risking losing the whole locker room. I hope I'm wrong. But I'm telling you, I know man. And I do know this. I know how to win championships. I got hardware everywhere. All my shit ain't fake. People put, whatever they put back there, that's all real hardware. Ain't a piece back there fake. And it comes from everywhere, on all levels. Don't tell me I don't know how to get it. And I'm telling you, that ain't how to get it. It take focus, man. It take this dedication. And it has to come from the top. Now, how do we do that? How do we do that? How do you do the same damn thing and get something different?
So that's basically it. And Steve, he said he didn't know him personal. Don't be stupid on me, man. I love you, but don't be dumb. But what Michael Irvin, and this is why I love Michael Irvin. I've always loved Michael. He's got more passion today, and I don't know how old he is. He's got to be late 50s, I'm thinking, than a lot of these players. I know a lot of the players on our team do. And that's exactly what the problem is. It ain't the coach. It's never been the coach. Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning coach. Mm-hmm. You know, he 3 straight seasons, 12 and 5, you know, for this team. It's the culture that's created. Guys can come in late. Guys can do what they want to do. Guys aren't held accountable. Guys aren't held together. Everything's worried about something else. You have to change the culture. That's why like when they moved on from McCarthy, and I wasn't for moving on from McCarthy because I knew what was coming. You know, and that's why the more I sat and listened to Dion, I'm thinking, man, Dion, you know, you get a Vrabel, you got Belichick, all these names that I wasn't crazy about in the beginning. I'm like, dude, that's what this team needs, someone who's bigger than Jerry, bigger than Steven. And we didn't get that. And that's the part that worries me the most about the Cowboys. Again, it's not Schottenheimer. The players like him. Dak likes him. But you know what? The thing going back about Dak Prescott, why does he need to be made comfortable all the time? Why? I mean, and I'm not trying to take a shot on him, but sometimes it's like I was talking with a former player. We're kind of going back and forth, and you know, he's like, man, I can't even talk about it because I got to get my words together because I don't want to do anything to get me in trouble, you know, with anyone because I got a lot of feelings on it. But sometimes they need to be uncomfortably comfortable. I mean, sometimes, you know, maybe Dak, the CEO, needs to get pushed a little bit different. It's what John Gruden did. That's why I was a fan of John Gruden. John Gruden changed things in Tampa. Tony Dungy was a phenomenal Hall of Fame coach, but they just needed a little bit more. And it wasn't against Dungy. Right. It wasn't. It's just a team makeup. The character they needed someone to drive them more in their face. And that's what Gruden did. And I think this team is a lot like that because of the distractions, because of the Or the Star, because of Jerry Jones. So I rambled on for a while, Greg, so I apologize. So I'm going to give you the chance to ramble on and just share your feelings on this whole situation.
That's passion, and passion does that, and passion needs to be released. Listen, Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, and there's one more, Tom Landry. Yeah. They're leaders that were respected before they were liked. There's a difference. A true leader is respected, not liked first. Then once you understand why this leader is the person that they are when it comes to disciplinary and it's fair and equitable, and you get on board, then you like this leader. At first you don't because you don't want to be disciplined. A lot of people, they need discipline. They know they need discipline. They don't want discipline. But once they get it and they understand how it makes them better, then they like it. But when you get coaches that have no level of discipline and think that well, they're going to do better because they like me. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. It'll never happen. Nobody ever gets better. Nobody ever reaches their fullest potential under a leadership position, difference between a leader and a leadership position, if they think the people are going to improve because they like them. Absolutely not. They're going to take advantage of you because the human nature is to be lazy. The human nature is to be comfortable and do things the way you want to do them. The winning attitude, the collective attitude, a team attitude is to have that discipline when necessary, respect that leader as a respected leader, like the process because you see where you're all going together in it. And our problem is Jerry is so afraid of getting a real leader because then he feels like he has to be second fiddle. And it's so ingrained in him as he gets older that there's nothing on this planet that's going to change. Not even a significant life-altering event near death will change Jerry's attitude. And until that changes, coaches are either going to say, I will not coach the Dallas Cowboys if I'm a strong coach. I will, and they will make it public. I didn't interview with Dallas because of this. This coach does the same thing. This coach does the same thing. Assistant coaches, staff coaches, they all make it public why they don't want to coach for the Cowboys. Now, mind you, somebody will always take the job because there's leeches out there that will always take that second fiddle, not because they think they can do the job. It's because they're leeches. They'll take whatever is out there and get opportunity. They're opportunists. What Jerry did, once again, him and Steven, is they looked at their bankroll. And then Jerry looked at his ego and he looked in the mirror and said, I'm not changing a damn thing. I'm going to do this. Of course, I'm not going to do it prime time because if I do it prime time, everybody knows I'm going to look like a damn clown trying to act like I just got the best coach in the NFL. So I'm just going to slide it on in there and let everybody talk. And then when it comes time to me, I'm like, well, you know, I can put my tap shoes on because those things still work fine with the public. And, you know, unfortunately, we have a lot of fans that will continue to say, Dak McCarthy, Dak McCarthy, Dak McCarthy. And then they'll say Jerry Jones. But because they know Jerry is never going to change, because they know there's nothing anybody can do about Jerry, they have to go to the lowest hanging fruit and put their frustration out on that person, thinking that if that person, the Dak or the McCarthy, gets fired, that things will change. Folks, you can go prune a tree that's diseased. You can put fertilizer on the leaves. You can rub baby oil on them. If you don't clean the roots, you get the same thing every year. The root is Jerry. So leave the leaves, the branches alone. They're not the problem. They're being fed garbage, being led by Jerry. And that curfew situation, Mike, you told us very eloquently months ago, detailed persona about what's going on with the team.
Yeah.
I heard Michael Irvin's video, and he hit the nail on the head exactly what you said because of your inside knowledge. I'm telling you, Michael, I like Michael Irvin, and it must be fate that I'm a Hurricanes fan from way back when Michael Irvin was on the team up to now, because Michael Irvin and I share the same deep impaneled passion, period. And it's a shame that it takes a former Cowboys Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame, three-time Super Bowl player who still has respect for Jerry. It's a shame that he has to come out and exalt all of that passion that he has. And it wasn't just screaming. Everything he said was accurate. So people who just listen to somebody volume and turn off, listen to the message. Michael Irvin nailed it.
Oh, 100%.
What's going on with the Cowboys?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, that is always been the bigger, issue. And that's what I've always said. That's why, I would say even Jason Garrett, who, I mean, he was a whipping boy for the fans. He had these coaches and these quarterbacks, they've paid the price for Steven and Jerry. And I would say this. And I saw it in some of the chat, and this was one of my, one of the other things is this to me is also, I don't think it's a Jerry move. I think it's a Steven move. And I think Steven has now, maybe not so much in the forefront, but I think he has kind of taken over the decision making with the Cowboys, because you've seen the shift, the lack of going after free agents, the coaching, some of the coaching moves and coaching hires that they've had, and some of the decisions in that, the contracts that are getting dragged out. You saw the clip that kind of went viral with Deion Sanders when they looked back at the Deion Sanders. I think it was an NFL Films. It was like a 30 for 30 or whatever they ended up doing. And Jerry Jones talked about, that time they signed Deion Sanders. Stephen Jones was against it. He's called himself the capologist, which I can't believe he actually calls himself that. And, Jerry Jones made the decision behind his back, and then Stephen Jones shoved him up against the wall and this and that. So I think Stephen Jones is more in charge than people. I think some people know it, but maybe more than others realize. I think the Jerry Jones move was to go get a guy like Deion. That's just me. Mm-hmm. I think Stephen Jones is the man running the show. So for Cowboy fans, that's not a good sign, because that's just letting you know it's going to be business as usual and the status quo continues. And it's why I've always said the coaches and the players have to win in spite of the ownership. And they've got to band together, and it's got to be like us against them. And that's hard to do. I mean, you can look at any business company. If you're working for a company and you've got all this dysfunction up top, and you want to drive it forward and make a change, it's like beating your head against the wall, and it almost becomes just it suffocates you, and you just kind of fall in line and say, you know what, you lose the passion, you lose the focus, you lose the drive. And I think that's what's happened with this team year after year, because there's a reason why you see players leave Dallas and they flourish in other environments, but they talk about the culture. How many of them have always talked about the culture of the Cowboys, football not being the priority? I mean, if I had $1 for every former player that said that, I wouldn't be working anymore. I'd be just doing a podcast 24/7. But I think that is just the rooted, like you said, it's the roots of the problem with this Cowboys. And I don't know how you fix it. They're not selling the team. No. I mean, they're not going nowhere. And I just don't understand how you've taken such a proud, historic franchise, the fan base and everything, and just run it into the ground over a period of time. It breaks my heart as a fan. I mean, I'm looking around, I'm looking at your cave, I'm looking at mine. I mean, these are memories from youth all the way up. And that's why there's so many of the guys from the 70s and the 90s in my cave, because that's the best memories, that I have with this organization.
But, Mike, it's no secret why Dante Fowler, Durrance Armstrong, Tyler Biadasz, all those, and the cornerbacks, and a couple of the coaches left Dallas. They were living this mess, and they knew they needed to leave. And see, what people don't realize, Steven, you never hear much about Steven, because Steven is not about winning. You've never heard Steven do an interview and say, we want to have a winning organization by any means, blah, blah. You don't. Steven, no, you don't. I said this a few times in our podcast over the year. Steven is more worried about his profit margin in his personal bank, what his daddy's going to leave him, what he's spending every day. Where is he going out? What type of 10, 20-star hotel, a restaurant he's going to, what mansions he has, where his money's going. Steven cares less, because he knows what the Cowboys organization is. It's a money-driving pit. And even if he sits back and lets it go to hell, he knows that the Cowboys' revenue is still going to keep him rich. That's all he's concerned about. And when you look at the players we have now, I told my cousin Dexter, I said, Dexter, what I'm bracing for that a lot of people aren't talking about right now is the mass exodus of somewhere of a number of people in those 22 free agents, some restricted free agents, some just free agent, 22 people. And let me tell you something. These folks see the culture. These folks want to win. They're comfortable in their environment, not having the discipline, being able to get away with what they want to in curfew and everything else, and play football and wear the star and get the fame because it's easy. But in the offseason, they're going to give second thoughts. They're going to be like, I really want to win, and I want to be in the NFL for a long time. And I'm looking at the guys that I played side by side with last year who are with Washington, and look where Washington is. And I'm looking this year at the coaches that just left. Al Harris is a big influence on cornerbacks and a mentor to a lot of the players. Some of those players are going to strongly consider, if they haven't already been talking to Al about possibly going to Chicago. I'm sure he's talking to Ben Johnson about a few players that he might want to go get in free agency. I'm sure that Dan Quinn is not done looking at a couple of Cowboy players to see if they can come up there. And look at this. I am so nervous about Cavante Turpin being pulled and lured away from us, and knowing that Jerry doesn't value anybody on the team to the aspect of, I most definitely have to keep him. Because if that was the case, that would have been a quick sign, and he didn't do it. And when you talk about how they have to do it on their own and how hard it is, they did it one time with Troy Aikman and the triplets and the whole team when they were under Barry Switzer, that third Super Bowl they won. They did it themselves. Fortunately for them, they had the players and didn't need the enhancement of a running back, etc., to help them get that third one. They had it all. They came together and they all wanted to win. They disciplined themselves. Rare, extremely rare. And a group of people like that are teammates for life. And it's a zenith. You'll never, ever be able to encapsulate that same type of motivation and commitment from players on any stage in a long, long time. These players don't have that. They're not together. They're not ready. And long as Steven and Jerry are doing what they're doing, they're going to start getting frustrated. So, folks, get prepared. You think you've seen something. We haven't even gotten to the part to where the players have to be signed by the new season. The new season is when? Is it April, March, April? It's considered contract.
Yeah. Well, it's like March. It usually comes in.
Be prepared for what players we have now that will leave, let alone the ones Jerry don't want to pay no more than 20 cents more than what they deserve. I looked at our cornerback list and our safety list. We used to be deficient in those for years. We finally got healthy in those, and we started getting injuries. So they're coming back from injuries. They're going to be coming back from injuries next year. Diggs won't start the season, but they're going to be coming back. But don't think they're all coming back. These guys and the ones that were sitting back there on the sidelines and got an opportunity to play when the starters were down, they came and shined. They stabilized that defensive back. Don't think they're all coming back, folks. We don't know what it's going to look like back there. And when this mass exodus happens, it's going to really take a toll on this team, and no rebuilding through the draft or free agency is going to be able to make up for that.
Yeah. No, I mean, if they're active in free agent, because rosters change. I mean, free agency loss doesn't bother me as long as you're replacing guys. The problem is the Cowboys don't replace guys. And I would say Jay recruited, just respectfully disagree. I think coaches in football are more important than any other sport.
Yes, they are.
There's a reason why teams make a quick flip. And you can look at the Dallas Cowboys back in the day with Bill Parcells. That man won 10 games and went to the playoffs with Quincy Carter and Troy Hambrick as his quarterback running back duo. Coaching matters in football. They set the culture. The basketball, I probably would agree with you. Baseball, I probably would agree with you. Football is the one sport where I think coaching makes a huge difference because players, the motivation. I mean, all these guys are talented. I mean, you're talking about the greatest athletes in football that play in the NFL. It's what is it, 0.5% or whatever it is of the college guys. These guys, the margin is so thin, and there's a reason why college guys are first-round draft picks at bust, and some seventh-round undrafted guys are great. It's the margin is just so thin. It's all what's in here, but it's all in the situation with the coaches and the environment and everything that goes with it. So I'll respectfully disagree. One thing I want to try and do, and I don't know if it's going to work, but Greg said it worked. He could hear it. And I don't know if you guys can. If any of you guys want to call in, we do have a phone line. We do have a system where people can call in. So if you do want to share your frustrations, ask the question, maybe pump somebody up if they're feeling down, whatever it is, feel free to call into the cave. The way it is, basically, it's off of my phone. It's one line. It'll kind of get you into the system. Once someone's calling in, don't try and call behind them until they're off. But if any of you guys want to call in, I'll leave that number up for you. We'll see if anyone wants to. Usually people get shy. They get shy. They get passionate in the chat, but shy in the thing. And that there's a reason why I'm behind the microphone and Greg. It's not an easy thing. I mean, we do a good job. We do a good job with it, I think. We've been getting some new subscribers and all of that. So hopefully they are liking the content, all kidding aside. But looking at this team and looking at we had Terrence Parsons on the show. Great show if you guys missed it. He gave a lot of insight. Well, we might have a caller. Let's see if this works. Let's see, Greg. You got to hang tight with me while I do this.
All right.
Yeah, let's see. Do we got a caller here? You there?
Hey, what's going on, sir?
What's up,
going
Greg?
on,
Can you
man?
hear him? Greg, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear him. Who are you?
All right.
Where you calling
What's up,
from?
man? What's your name, man? How you doing?
Man, it's D Shift, man. I kind of hang out in the chats, man, and kind of get my 2 cents on things in there. But biggest thing, like looking at the Michael Irvin thing, because emotionally we're kind of going in a little roller coaster right now. Trying to be cool with it, trying to have optimism, but then again, knowing, because the way that the season ended, right? It's like we missed the playoffs. And so that kind of has us in a little hysteria, but I feel like this is still like a playoff, like a team that can get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the goal ultimately, right, is to get to the Super Bowl. Like, and that's kind of where I think subconsciously where we're at. Like, I think, like people are like, all right, we should calm down. But at the same time, like we're in a position where we were still in a rut at 12-5, right? So I can't like really be grateful for Mike McCarthy and stability when like we need something that's going to really shift the dynamics in this team, So, hearing Mike, kind of give that speech, man, that was kind of like a State of the Union type to me, because it's like, I mean, he's stepping in, like really calling out players,
Yeah.
And then he's talking about all they do is talk about, money in the off season, and y'all not talking. Like, cause they were talking about winning, back, that's what
That's
I'm sure
what
that's what they talked about.
Yep, absolutely.
Sure, that's what the Chiefs do right now. The off season they talk about how they're going to get to this dynasty, and with us, it seems like they start talking about it once training camp starts or something, and that's part of the culture. So you can't you can't have a championship team if you don't have a championship culture, and I think that's the underwhelming thing about Brian Schottenheimer. And so I trust his philosophy. I like what I hear about as far as where he's at as far as wanting to run the ball and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some things to be optimistic about. Kind of like why it changed everything. Just kind of link him in. Kind of, like you said, pacify Dak a little bit. I kind of say that respectfully, but at the same token, it's like, time's running out, man. And
well, don't you think? Don't you think, Swift? It's time. Like Dak needs to take reins. I mean, you're going 9 years now. I mean, at some point,
at this point, we know he's not that guy, though.
Now, then they gotta,
he might
start
need
thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, listen,
and I say,
listen. This is
I say that, guy.
Here, hang on. Greg wants to chime in.
Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
One component about that you're missing. You have an owner that has to supply the team with the talent they need in those deficient positions. Now, you look at how we came close to making the playoffs in spite of all our problems. But look how we could have made the playoffs if the GM.
Yeah, they have the quarterback.
No. If he had gone and gotten us a running back. If he had gotten
a running back.
See, when you watch football every season, don't you notice? I hope you notice during the season how teams go out there during the season and they go trade for a certain person, and they go trade for this certain person, and then when free agency comes, they definitely go get a person, and they don't just trade to trade; they trade for needs. See, if you got a team like the Cowboys who came out of training camp hurt, but are still fighting for one another. Remember that the player said they're fighting for themselves, for each other. That's the start of a team, of coming as a team. When you start doing that, and then you're looking at the owner saying, look, I'm bloody, I'm bleeding, but we're almost there. Get us a running back in free agency. You know we need one, and you don't do it. And then you say, no, shut up and go out there and color. And then all of a sudden, okay, go trade for so-and-so to get us this person over here like the other teams are doing. And you say, shut up, go color. Eventually, you break that wheel. And you can't expect the team to win without when they have those key critical deficiencies. And Saquon was available. Derrick Henry was available. And Jerry knew we needed a beast back there. If you can just imagine one of those guys on our team this season, we're in the playoffs in spite of the injuries because we can run the ball. And Dowdle, he became better as the season went, but he still wasn't that powerhouse. Now, we can blame, you can look at Dak because lowest hanging fruit, you can say McCarthy all you want. But if you don't give them the weapons they need, you can't blame them for trying to make filet mignon out of pig feet. You can't do it. You can't do it. So it's all encompassing. Dak needs to be playing better. Imagine how much better Dak would have played if he had a Saquon or a Henry. But nobody wants to look at that because everybody's so quick to grab Dak needs to be better and McCarthy needs to be better. But nobody's saying, well, wait a minute. Dak can't carry them rocks all the way up the hill by himself if he ain't got somebody to help him carry him, a beast. McCarthy can't do it all by himself if he ain't got nobody running. He loves running.
Yeah. Let me jump in real quick, Swift. Let me jump in, Swift, so we can let you go. You could join the show. We'll grab another call. But what is your quick thoughts? I mean, as a fan, where are you in 2020, 2025? Are you going to be the fans that, it's kind of, you lost hope and you're kind of just going to lose the interest? Or are you going to wait and see? You want to see what they do, if anything? Or are you good with where they're at today? What's your thoughts?
Nah, man, I'm a fan, man. So I'm gonna be watching regardless. I just know that we haven't, Greg was talking about, and he talked about offense. He ain't mentioned all the things that we have not done on defense.
Yeah,
and that's ultimately all encompasses what you need to do. So I don't know you. I'm just realistic, right? I'm looking at it. We got a quarterback. We got some pieces here and there on offense and defense, but you don't have a full team yet. You got a coach that I'm looking at the familiarity, and hopefully he'll be able to bring in more running pieces and kind of not do some of the game management things that McCarthy did at times. Just take those things out the equation. But I'm gonna watch, and I know it can still be a playoff product. I know we can still be competitive.
Yeah,
we're not down in the dump.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to make enough moves. The draft is going to put us in good position, but I mean, we're not going to do anything from free agency. And like you said, you're not going to get that second running back, that second receiver, that other linebackers, make another defensive end. You need all those pieces to win a championship. And that's why I say you're gonna waste Dak like you wasted Romo. That's where we're at this point. That's why I said to pacify Dak.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't trying to be negative. I'm just being realistic. You're about to waste another opportunity with a quarterback, and once you lose that, you think losing this coach is bad.
We lived through those years, man. If you're old enough to remember, we lived through those years.
Yeah.
But hey, Swift, I appreciate you calling, man. Thanks for breaking the ice, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks a lot.
Take it easy.
All right, take care, bro.
Yeah. See, and that's right. That last thing he was saying, it resonates. You're going to ruin another quarterback, and a coach, and by not giving them what they need, so they can express the opportunity and the goals they have winning. See, Brian may not turn out to be a bad coach, but if Brian isn't supported, he can't win. It's almost like setting them up. Yeah. So all we have right now is hope, because the season hadn't started, hope that something does change. And my hope is in the players, that the players finally say, you know what, bump Jerry.
Well, it's ultimately on these players. I mean, we can give the coaches and you can give, but I mean, this team is like, Swift was saying, this team is talented. This team, this roster, forget last year, because you had just unforeseen injuries all across. Yeah. This team has talent. There's no, I mean, make no mistake about it. They won 7 games. If Dak was healthy, they were in the playoffs. Now, I don't think they would have, how far would they have gotten? We don't know, but they were in the playoffs. I mean, they're in the playoffs. So this team is talented, but you've got to get over the hump. And that's why I kept talking about the culture part of it. And it's like, you've got the talent. Well, why isn't the talent achieving success? You can't continue to blame the coaches, because you've got coaches in here that won Super Bowl. That, you've got that. You're getting 12 wins. When you get to the playoffs, it's on these players to kind of, get themselves ready, get them, Mike McCarthy wasn't throwing the interceptions. Dan Quinn wasn't missing tackles. You know what I'm saying? They didn't run the ball hardly ever in the playoffs. I mean, I think the top in their losses, the top rushing they had was like 70 yards or something like that. So there is a problem to me, and it's culture driven, and it starts. That's why I put a lot of it on Jerry. So that's just, and not really Jerry, but the organization, I'll say. But that's where they've got to get over the hump. They've got a draft coming up where, I mean, they're picking 12. They're going to get a good football player. I mean, whether, we can debate whether you should go running back or receiver, best available, whatever it is, but they're going to get a good football player, and they need to get 3 starters out of this draft with the first 3 picks. But if they don't do anything, like you said, in free agency to fill the guys leave, that's just the nature of the bid. Rosters turn over 20% of every team it happens to. But you got to replace those guys. I mean, especially when you're top heavy on your roster, like they are with Dak and Diggs and Parsons and CD with these contracts, you rely on middle tier free agents and draft picks, and they get the draft picks, but they don't get those middle tier free agents. I'm not telling them to go sign Chris Jones for $180 million or whatever it was, but sign some middle tier guys. Don't go 1-year contracts. That's all they do. 1-year contracts. I think we got another caller. Hang tight. Oh, we got the lunatic. I heard that name. Let me see here. Hang on tight. Let's go. Let's see. Sorry, this is antiquated, but it works. The lunatic, is that you?
Good morning, Cowboys Nation. How you doing?
Good, man. What's up? How you feeling?
Well,
go ahead, let it out.
Disappointed. I had a long list. I was pushing for Gruden. Said, hey, he'd be cheap. He could apologize. We love a good comeback story and something like that. But at least interview different people.
Yeah.
They interviewed Saleh, but it seems like that was just a Rooney Rule. Frazier, and then all of a sudden, Brian Schottenheimer comes out of nowhere. He definitely wasn't on anybody's radar at the beginning. Everybody I was listening to was, giving their opinions. I was thinking, we do need an offensive-minded coach. Offense wins in the NFL now. But this is just, it feels like this front office, the word I always keep repeating is mismanagement. They just mismanage everything as far as the front office.
Yeah.
And this is just one of those things that they mismanaged. At least interview different people, not just Kellen Moore. They didn't even have the 3 hours. Kellen probably said, you know what, thanks, but no thanks.
Mm-hmm.
He burned that bridge with me, and now it's just, well, let's see who we're comfortable with from within.
Yeah, I didn't want
from within, and that was
I
Brian
didn't want
Schottenheimer.
Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is just another coach within the system. You know what I'm saying? I did not want him, but I agree. Gruden, one of these guys outside the organization, I would have been much happier with. And I just was wondering, like, they had to interview Schottenheimer for 3 hours, and then 2 hours. I mean, shit, man, the guy's been on your staff for 2 years. Do you really need to talk to him that much? But I don't know.
Well, you know, Jerry had to put on the show to make it seem like he was really being thorough.
Yeah.
You know?
So the lunatic, where do you see this team going forward? Right, you got the status quo. Dak he was pushing for Schottenheimer, so I think you're going to get the continuity part. But the problem to me is the culture part. I don't want continuity anymore. I need a shakeup. I mean, what do you think the Cowboys are going to do? Defensive coordinator, would you be happy with Eberflus, who's been out there kind of rumored?
Yes. That he was one of the top candidates. That is a step in the right direction as far as bringing in somebody and mentoring. Shotty hadn't had a head coaching interview in the last decade. Bring in somebody who has been a head coach who can kind of mentor him, help him out, because he's not only going to be the head coach. Now, more than likely, he's going to be calling plays.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah. And you know,
and Eberflus again. Yeah, and Matt Eberflus, he is a solid defensive mind.
Yeah.
So that can steady the defense. We need depth on defense, but we need those playmakers on offense. Absolutely. Everybody always says, a quarterback can't do it himself. Yeah, but it helps if the quarterback has weapons. And hopefully Jerry and the Joneses will hear this uproar from the fan base again and say, you know what? We have got to do something in free agency now. Let's pull the levers. Let's get that money and let's spend it so it's not draft. We don't have enough picks in the draft to fill all the holes. And we can't go to Dollar Tree again for bargain basement free agents. That is not going to work.
You got that right.
Hopefully watching two of our rivals, the Eagles and the Commanders, in the NFC Championship game, hopefully watching them to play today, and will be a side note, which is sad. It'll move Jerry and say, you know what? Hasn't worked. Let's do something else. And now let's all right, I can support the Shotty move, but now give him tools. You didn't give tools to McCarthy.
Right.
Fine. We knew it was gonna. We knew the story, the way the story was gonna end. Even at the beginning of the season, we're like, whoa, this is not looking good. If we get injured, which happened, we are gonna keep losing.
Yep.
So hopefully, it looks to me. I'm thinking like a 6-11 season, a rebuild. But let's see what the front office does with the free agency. That will go ahead, and the sooner that you can sign Micah, the better. Don't worry about the numbers.
Yeah.
Just show us that, hey, you know what? Winning is at least in the top 5 of your list.
Yeah, and especially the lunatic, especially when Micah has made it known on television and in the media. He said, my agent may not like this, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to remain a Cowboy. So, Jerry, he just told you right there, he's willing to do anything. You love hearing that, Jerry, because now you know you can go to him with peanuts. So Micah's telling you, come on, just give me a deal. I just want to be a Cowboy for life. So you can get that out the way now, and then you can definitely draft well. But free agency, we must get players. And I'm telling you, I will stand this on my grave. Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott, they cannot be at their best if they're not giving the weapons. And listen, I'm not saying go out and do something nobody else is doing. Do the normal routine that every team does every year, is trade for people and in free agency get key players. If you just do what all the other teams do, the basic trade and free agency, we will supplement where we need them and we will be better. But he doesn't even want to do the basic of what other teams do to win. Yeah,
no, 100%. So, the lunatic, man, I appreciate you calling in, brother, and always supporting the show, man. I always see you in the chat.
Thanks
so
a lot.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Be blessed, Cowboys Nation. It's going to be a rough one, but we're in it together.
We'll get it.
That's right,
all right, man.
Together.
See you. And the only thing I would probably respectfully disagree with, this team's going to win more than 6 games. This team is talented. And like I said, the Schottenheimer hire, I'm disappointed on the culture side, but I get, the offensive side. If you're a Dak fan, you love the hire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do, because the offense is going to stay pretty much the same. It'll tweak a little bit. He's going to put his stamp on it, but the philosophy of the offense is still going to be kind of what you're seeing now. And that's why they wanted to keep that. The key is what coaches they get on the defensive side, right?
Yeah.
Who are they going to get on the defensive side? Now, Eberflus, I would be fine with it. And I wasn't upset Bones left. I'm not upset Al Harris left. I want a cleansing. I mean, I'm fine with the more fresh eyes and fresh people you get in, to me, the better. That's just my opinion. But we'll see how it plays out, for the Cowboys. But it is going to be interesting seeing this championship game, and you got Washington and you got the Eagles playing for it. But remember, I mean, the Cowboys beat Washington banged up and with our backup. I mean, these teams aren't that far ahead of the Cowboys. If the Cowboys were healthy, they easily sweep the Washington team. They split with Philly or sweep them, no doubt in my mind about it. But they weren't. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of doom and gloom. They're going to win 3 games, 4. That shit ain't happening. This isn't the Dave Campo where you handed Dave Campo nothing on offense. You had Anthony Wright. You had, all these quarterbacks roll it. This team's got the core team of this team is talented. So It's just a matter of the coaches. Can they overcome some of the things? But it's going to go to the GM. If they don't invest, like the lunatic said, and like you said, if they don't invest in free agency and they nail the draft, it's going to be a disappointing year. No doubt about it.
And like I said, we still haven't experienced which players are going to leave and which players are going to leave.
Go ahead.
You said we still haven't experienced which players are going to leave and who he's going to replace them with. And if we got prime players leaving, but Jerry replaces them with nobodies because he wants to get people on the cheap, then he's not helping the cause at all. All he's doing is 2 steps forward and putting the team 5 steps back. So you can't lose a bunch of these players in free agency coming up and turn around and say, I'm going to replace them with nobodies who really don't have that much talent, only because you and Steven want to save money. Well, you're cutting them at the knees. So I just got.
We'll see.
Even if Gruden had been hired and I'd have been happy, my biggest word would be like, okay, well, how much control is he going to give Gruden? So
we got a caller. Let's see what it says. I agree 100% with you, Greg. Who we got on the phone? Hey, you there? Let me see something. Hang tight. There you go. You there? Can you hear me now?
You hear me, Mike?
Yeah, there you go. Who we got on here? I'm sorry.
Man, this is Steve. What's happening?
What's up, now this is Greg. You got to understand, this is another fellow you. So I know he's feeling good about the Canes. We're gonna get this. So hey, if the Cowboys stink, we still got our Canes. So we got that to look forward to. So what's up, Steve?
That's right. Hey, so I just want I wanted to call in a little bit. I wanted Deion Sanders. So right off the bat, I wanted Deion the whole time.
Yep.
The fact that we got this guy to be our coach, that if you see on social media, there's a mass exodus of fans just saying they done.
Yep.
I'm part of them people, bro. I'm like, I can't stand watching this anymore. Jerry Jones got us that frustrated after 30 years. It's like it's the same story every single season, dog. It's like I had told you earlier this season. I said, Mike, I know these videos are getting harder and harder. You might as well just be a Miami Hurricane creator at this point, bro. It's just Dallas is letting us down every single year.
I might be doing that, Steve. You're going to see this year. I'm feeling good about the Canes, man. I'm feeling good about these Canes. But no.
Yeah, and it got to the point to where I wanted us. I think it was around the Washington game. I wanted us to start tanking so we can have a chance to potentially get Cam Ward or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, but they just want enough to just screw us up and put us at that 12th pick. And I got to say too, like I've been watching the Cowboys a long time since the '90s, and I know whenever they got this much of a backlash sometimes they all of a sudden they all right, they might win 12 games next year just to prove everybody wrong. But I got that same feeling that in case something like that was to happen, it still don't mean they will get past the division round, man. I've seen this team fail up and down, and they just can't get it done whenever it counts. And I see something like that happening when you're talking about a prediction for like next year. It's like they go do just enough to get our hopes up again, and then it'll go break our heart when it counts the most, bro.
Yeah.
No, I mean I can't argue with that. But as far as the the expect, is there anything they can do to get you back? Like if they got active in free agency, they had to go, they got the draft, and maybe my problem is they don't get nobody from the U. And if I try and tell these people, when we won Super Bowls, we had Hurricanes littered on this team, littered. And what if they get some Canes, get active in free agency? Are we bringing Steve back, or are you still going to be on the edge?
Well, I would say if we can ever get to the NFC Championship, of course I'll come running back. But
that bandwagon.
It's success. It's like kind of like I like Deion Sanders' mentality.
I do.
Deion Sanders was a winner. That's why I wanted him so bad, and it just hurt so bad. I don't know nothing about this guy. I know we was going back and forth.
No, I know. I was only joking.
And he was on our roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this dude was on our roster, and I didn't even know about him. So that's to tell you how good the guy really is, right there. And that being said, damn, I'm having a train wreck in my mind right now. I want to say so many things.
That's what the Cowboys does to us.
For me to get back, it would take success, bro. They got to get past this hump, and just the fact that the Eagles and Washington are playing in the NFC Championship. I think I put it in the chat earlier. This is what I wanted to say. Right now, I feel like this organization, to me, is so bad as far as the way it's handled and everything. It's kind of reminding me of the post-Aikman, pre-Romo days. That's kind of like
100%.
This era.
Yeah. I think that's what
and
it
like,
is.
And I feel like what it would take to really get me excited about the Cowboys again and really think it's kind of like a 2006 Romo. I think somebody needs to take the job from Dak. Not putting it all the blame on Dak, but I think at this point Dak's busted up. Dak, in my opinion, has reached his ceiling. Dak is not on the level of a Jaden Daniels, in my opinion. And I think it takes a spark to Dallas. Somebody needs to come in there and be like a 2006 version of Tony Romo.
That's not any LSU bias. I know you're from Louisiana. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I'm a Canes fan, but I always do like I respect LSU. I ain't got nothing against LSU. So of course, being from Louisiana, I do like Jaden Daniels, and I'm pulling for him definitely against Philly.
No, he's a good story. Greg, you had a question?
Yeah, but Steve, you got it. I'm glad you brought up the point about Dak. I've said earlier that I want us to go get a quarterback and somebody that come in that we know is going to be a definite backup, but somebody's going to come in and put some pressure on Dak. Somebody's going to come in and like, I'm hungry. I want to get that starting position, and I'm going to show you I can do it. Because right now, Dak has no pressure that with Coop and Lance. He has no pressure worrying about losing his starting job. But sometimes when somebody's in a comfortable position and they're complacent, and all of a sudden they see this shiny penny behind them waiting to take their spot, sometimes it resurrects something in you to make you get back on point and say, oh, money or not, this guy's here to take my position. Let me step it up and get out of my complacency and my comfort zone, because we need another quarterback. Cooper Rush, I appreciate what you did for us, but it's time for you to go. Lance, I don't know what the Cowboys are trying to do with Lance. I don't understand that. But if you're not going to do something with him and develop him, which you definitely ain't doing, Jerry.
No, he's gone now.
Then let him go. And go get a quarterback that can challenge Dak. Now, you get a quarterback and challenge Dak, Dak can play better. But at the same time, Steve, you do understand, in spite of Rico Dowdle finally playing decent and good, you do understand that if Dak or anybody back there doesn't get a good running back And Andrew Fisher said it earlier well. You don't want to go out there and break the bank in free agency, but you do need to go get one or two key players in key positions.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that,
No doubt.
we can't support Dak or anybody else on the team.
Yeah. Hey, Steve.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Really one of Dak's best years was the Zeke's rookie year, which was Zeke's best year of his career.
Yeah.
You got to have the run game, and I think they're going to get Gentry in the draft. I would imagine they get Gentry in the draft. That's got to be the number one point of need right there. You definitely need the pieces, but at the same time, like I've seen Dak when he had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Dez Bryant, Dak has had his share of weapons as well and still has not gotten where he needs to be. Right. I got to say that I was the last real big game that I went to live in person myself. I was at the game, the Green Bay playoff game, Dak's rookie year, and when we was down 21-0, I was right there by the Miller Lite little spot where I'm damn near by the sideline on the field where the players can hear me and everything. And when we was down 21 on to Green Bay on that playoff game on Dak's rookie year, man, I started screaming on the top of my lungs, Romo, Romo, Romo. And Romo literally started warming up because he could literally hear me screaming it. And I was like, man, give Romo the chance. We're about to blow this playoff game, and they never did. And I never forgot that because I was always a Tony Romo guy. I just feel like, just like Dak was on fire that year, that's what they need now to really spark this team. Is somebody to be on Dak like that when Dak came in and took Romo's job.
Yeah. Hey.
Somebody need to come in there right now. And I talked to the guy Nick on the Spaces and everything, and we saying it might be just doom and gloom until we get Manning in here. It might be Manning's job to take.
I don't know about Manning.
I don't think they'll be bad enough to pick up there. But hey, let me leave you with this: the Canes. We got Notre Dame coming. We got Florida coming. Are you going to make it? Am I going to see you down there? Are you making a trip down to South Florida for one of those games or no?
I would like to possibly make a Miami-Florida State game, whether it's in Tallahassee or Miami. I'm not sure, but that'd be the one game I definitely want to go see is the FSU game. Yeah,
I'd love to see us slap them around again. So if you do, hit me up, man. It'd be love to meet up with you, man. I appreciate it, Steve. Appreciate all the support, brother.
For sure. Go Canes.
Yes. Take care. That's the only good thing. At least my Canes are back to being pretty good, and they get the quarterback. So hopefully, things don't work out well. And someone was trying to call. I was just going to say, if you want to call back, you can. I can only take calls once someone hangs up. But
Mike, I think all our fans, whether they say they're tired of the Cowboys for a while, or whether they say I feel optimistic or pessimistic, or I don't like this coach, or Dak ain't this and this and this. I think all our fans, and I would venture out to say 99%, only because you can never be sure. I would venture to say 99.99% of Cowboys fans around the world truly understand, believe, and know that our biggest cancer to the Dallas Cowboys is Jerry Jones. And they all know, we all know that unless he changes, no matter what changes we see under the umbrella each season, that we're like this all season because of what is he going to do during the season to make another sabotage of the team. And I always say this my entire time to everybody. I say you can count on Jerry Jones every season to sabotage the team in one great feat. Every season, it's like, okay, 2005, I got to pull out another sabotage attempt, and he's going to do it. So we all can agree, may not agree on the situation with the players and the coaches, but we can all agree worldwide by the Cowboys that our biggest fallback, our biggest limiting factor, our biggest issue, our biggest painful sore is Jerry Jones.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think it's Stephen Jones more. But what I want to say, hey, just want to take a quick break. Obviously, we've been taking some calls. If you guys do want to call in, the number scrolling on the bottom. When someone calls in, oops, I took it off. When someone calls in, I can't take another call till they hang up. But if you guys want to share any frustration, thoughts, or pick me up or something, we could definitely we welcome it. We enjoy at least I, and I know Greg, that we enjoy the opportunity to talk to everyone. And but also we've gotten so many new subscribers. So if you're watching this show, I see 500 plus of you guys on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. Definitely come over to YouTube, hit that subscribe. We appreciate all the support on the channel. One of the most important things, man, hit that thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything. The example I'll give, man, I did a draft show. Everyone hit that thumbs up, got like 80 thumbs up, and got a shit ton, for lack of a better word, of views. It helps get the algorithm because then they start recommending it to other Cowboys fans or other people, within the football circle. So if you want to help out the channel at all you do is hit that thumbs up. It's very easy. You see the thumbs up under there. Hit it. If you're not subscribed and you're watching on your phone or on your TV, if you look in the bottom right corner, you see my ugly mug. All you do is hit that, and you just hit the little subscribe button, and you won't miss any of the shows. So very easy, man. I made it user-friendly and what I would call dummy-proof for you guys to support the channel. But we did have a super chat. We had some calls, so I do apologize for getting to this late. But Dion loves coaching his kids. That ain't coming to Dallas. Neither is he. That's the one challenge, obviously. I think Dion, he does love coaching his kids. He's staying in Colorado, though, and his kids won't be there. So I don't know if that's totally true, but I don't think Dion would be long for Dallas. I love Dion. I think he would shake things up. I don't think it would be a long tenure in Dallas because I think he would get kind of fed up with it. But the thing I loved about Dion is he's bigger than Jerry. The media would be going to him. Jerry would become irrelevant, kind of like the way he was with Parcells and with Jimmy Johnson, and that kind of didn't sit well with him, and you kind of saw what would happen. So I don't think the Dion thing was realistic, but it was something that would have definitely intrigued me. Let me slide up. Let's go ahead and maybe switch gears, and if we can keep talking Cowboys, we can. But we got the NFC Championship. NFC East. Someone from the NFC East is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, which, that's kind of crazy to me. Yeah, Steve, definitely appreciate you calling in. What's your initial thoughts? And you guys in the chat, you're seeing this matchup. I've kind of embarrassed myself to Washington fans by telling them to pump the brakes about week 5 before things got rolling for them. And so I'm getting laughed at, I'm sure, by Washington fans in that area. But what are you thinking, Greg? You're seeing this matchup. They were 1-1 against each other. Hurts was injured. I don't want to say Hurts was hurt, so I'll say Hurts was injured in the last game. Says he's okay, but, I mean, he definitely walked off gingerly. And the coach said if Hurts runs, the defensive coordinator said if Hurts runs, he said they're going to hit him, and they're going to hit him hard. So what do you think?
I don't want to hear nothing from Eagles fans saying, well, Hurts is trying to set the stage early before the game. Well, Hurts is hurt. So I can see, no, don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Hurts, hurt or not, the Eagles going to get their behind whooped. Hurts, 100% healthy or not, and don't come up with no excuses about it was because Hurts was hurt. No. Next man up. And Hurts is not hurt enough where he can't play and run. He's been hurt a little bit all season. The Commanders are far more determined. The Commanders are far more hungry. The Commanders are playing at the top of their motivation level. They are playing at the top of their talent. They ain't taking second chances. They ain't taking a loss behind the Eagles. They going out there to put it all on the field. The Commanders will beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. So you Eagles fans, keep spelling Eagles like I see you always doing. Even your mayor spelled it. E-L-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Y'all some dumb people. So keep on spelling Eagles like that and watch. Watch when they lose. First thing they're going to say, Hurt was hurt. If it wasn't for his leg. No, if it wasn't for the Commanders. If it wasn't for the Commanders, that's what it is. The Commanders are going to take care of business. They own business today.
Well, I bet on the Eagles, so I hope you're wrong, but because I just think they're a better football team, but it would not upset me. I'd be happy to lose that money to see Washington in there. Now, I think whoever comes out of the AFC is going to beat either one of these teams, so this is what I'm stuck with. Eagles losing in the championship game, so we can just kind of laugh at them as fans, which is always fun. Or Eagles going to the Super Bowl and losing and then being 1-4 in the Super Bowls, have more losses than we do. We got 8 appearances, and they'd have 5 appearances and 4 losses. How embarrassing would that be? But you know what? The Washington team has grown on me. Jaden Daniels is playing good football. This team is a scrappy team. They've got, they fight for each other. They're fun to watch. They're a great story. And I mean, anything that could go right for them this year has gone right. It's like they got a horseshoe up their ass or something, because it is just unbelievable. But again, I would go back to culture. They had Dan Snyder. They get rid of Dan Snyder. They get a new GM. They get a new head coach. They bring in some fresh faces. They have a nice draft. And all of a sudden, this 4-win team is in the NFC Championship game. And it's not that I think Dan Quinn is an unbelievable coach. It's not that I think they got unbelievable talent, because the other teams have been more talented than them. There's probably 6 teams more talented than them in the NFC that was in the playoffs. But they should have lost to the Bucs, but they found a way to win. Detroit, they got the turnovers. They were relentless on offense. They kept pushing. They didn't play scared. They were on attack mode, and they beat them against the Lions. So this team is, you dare to say, a team of destiny. We'll see if it continues on, but you got to give I got to give Washington and their fans their due. Absolutely. Am I jealous? Yes. I got to give them their due. What they've done, it's been amazing.
Well, see, they don't give up. They don't give up no matter what. And the culture was set with the new ownership. Magic was on television after a game. They said, Magic, what'd you guys do to change the culture and everything in this organization? He said, first, you get a new owner, you hire a good coach, and you get your players, and then you get out the way and let them do their job. And as soon as he said that, they were getting ready. They interviewed, the owner was there. They said, well, what do you think? And Magic said, let me get out the way. He got out the way of right there when the question started for the owner. He said, now let me get out the way and let the owner do what the owner does, an owner who changes the culture. And I know Dan Snyder don't like that, because he sees them going the first year, really full year after he's gone, they're riding to the top. If you think we had an example all year long with Jerry Jones being the pincushion all year long, that is another good example, that interview. And that interview ought to be played every time Jerry goes in his office and turns on his television. The first thing he ought to see is that after-game interview by Magic Johnson about how you build this culture like that. That's the first thing he ought to see. And the next thing he ought to see is that arrogant-ass GM for New York talking to Saquon with his feet up on his desk, talking about, yeah, we're going to let you go to other teams. And then the third thing he needs to see on there is Derrick Henry telling people, and say, Derrick, what happened? Well, I moved to Dallas. I bought a home in Dallas. I was working out in Dallas. I told my agent I want to play with Dallas. He needs to see that repetitively on a loop every time he goes into his office. And I'm telling you, these folks put together an organization and a culture that is, and they didn't do anything unique. They took the basic playbook of how to build an organization and have a winning structure, and they just did it. They didn't go out and create some new method or policy. They did exactly what the playbook has been written by experts hundreds of years ago when they had leather helmets of how to form a successful organization. They did it, and then the owners stepped out the way and let the coaches do their job and the players do their job. And they are hungry. They don't stop. They keep coming back at you. They keep coming back. They don't give up during the game. You never see that in any player. And right now they have lightning in a bottle, because that sophomore year for a quarterback is different.
Oh, yeah. CJ Stroud.
He's still going to have his confidence. Yeah. He's still going to be. And we don't know that Washington will still have all of the same players next year. So that lightning in the bottle right now is what they got to get. And they don't implode. They don't get on the sideline and talk about each other. They don't have these reactions on the sideline where they piss. They don't get in the media and say stupid stuff. ELGLES, if that's how y'all spell Eagles, that's what y'all do. And these Commanders are going to whoop some else today.
Well, it's going to be interesting. So flip it over to the AFC. Now, I know that you got a little bias here, with rightfully so. If I had a family member that was a fan of one of these two teams, but I maybe take it off, and be I want Greg, the media guy now, the unbiased reporter. You got Mahomes, you got Allen. I mean, Mahomes has owned Allen in the playoffs. Do you think Allen can finally get over the hump, or what are you thinking?
Okay, let me act like one of the pundits. Well, Mike, the way I see it is, Mahomes has had his number in those AFC championships, and he's always find a way to pull it out and win it. Odds are that Mahomes is picked to go to the Super Bowl and get that trifecta back to back to back. But that Allen is hungry, and they've been there several times, and they just didn't knock on the door. And who they remind me of? They remind me of Bum Phillips and the Houston Oilers. He said, last year, we knocked on the door. This year, we're going to bust it down. And each time, they were at the AFC Championship, and they didn't get in. I think, now, my heart, because my godson played with Buffalo Bills from 2000 to 2005. Kevin Thomas. They call him K Tizzle. Mm-hmm. My brother is a diehard Buffalo Bills fan since way back in the O.J. Simpson Converse days. And I always root for Buffalo during the regular season in the AFC. I think put it this way. I want Allen to go up in Kansas City, and I want him to light them up. And if Cook has a hell of a game running, I think even with Mahomes' magic, they come up short. Because right now they're trying to chase 3 in a row winning Super Bowls, never done in history. And the New England Patriots tried to chase an undefeated season and win a Super Bowl so they can join the Miami Dolphins. But something got in the way. And I think for the Chiefs, what's going to get in the way for them this year are the Buffalo Bills in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for the three-peat, which would be, history. And like I said, I stand pretty firm. I think these are the two best teams left. I think I think it would be interesting to see Buffalo go and get an opportunity to maybe finally win their first Super Bowl. I think, as just an NFL fan, great story that would be. And if you had Jaden Daniels, a rookie, winning the Super Bowl, that would be a phenomenal story. But people got to understand, if you're old school like myself, and I'll throw Greg in the mix, Washington, that's right. Philly gets a little upset when I say this, but it's a fact. Washington's our big rival. I mean, Philly is always been a rival of convenience. If they're good and we're good, we hate each other. Usually if they stink and we're good, we don't care. And if it's vice versa, I'd probably say they still care about us, but we don't really care about them. Washington is, so it would pain me to see Washington win a Super Bowl. I just don't like to see Philly win a Super Bowl because I want to be able to laugh at them some more, and that's always fun. But I think it's Buffalo, Kansas City. I'm not betting on this game because I think Buffalo's the better team right now, but Kansas City, I will never bet against Mahomes. So I said, you know what? I am staying out of this one. I'm just going to watch it with no vested interest as far as financial. And this is going to be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, and I'm excited for it. I will really be looking forward to this one. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But before we wrap it up, I saw a couple people and my man Bobby, who I got a chance to meet at a Cowboys game. I think Bobby, you and I ran into, I think the Jags, we might have ran into each other as well, but also at Texas. He's losing hope. He's losing hope in this organization of the Cowboys. And I wanted to, just kind of share my thoughts with it and get you guys and Greg, your thoughts, because, you're a huge fan. You've been around, you've seen it all. I've only seen so much. You've seen it all. And, I shared the story in other shows, and my lifelong dream as a kid was I wanted to be a season ticket holder for the Cowboys. I mean, and it sounds stupid. I live in Florida. How the hell would you do that? It makes no sense. But as things gotten better and travel and where my job, I can get free hotel rooms because I use my points and credit cards. You kind of finagle your stuff around. In 2019, I said, you know what? I talked to my wife and she's like, do it. Why are you waiting around? We could do it. Just do it. So I made the investment to be a season ticket holder. So, and it's a proud thing that it filled a lifelong dream. And doing that, I've gotten the opportunity to go to games that I want to go. I used to go to games, but it was buy your tickets and this and that. Now I can go to the games that I want to go, playoff games and this and that, and gotten an opportunity to meet so many great Cowboy fans. And so I love it. I love having these tickets. But now you see the way this organization and some of their decisions. And it's not that I'm not a fan. I'm always going to be a huge fan. That's never going to change. But it's a significant financial commitment. I mean, I'm not going to say it on the air, but I'm just going to say it's a significant financial commitment for my seats and the seat license and everything. And I'm paying a premium price, and I expect to support a premium organization. And I always looked at the Cowboys as being that. But I don't know if it's there. So I have this battle in my head. Do I continue the season tickets? Do I I'll watch it on TV and go to a game a year like I used to? I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm going to do, Greg. I'm just kind of at a weird spot with these Cowboys in this organization, and I hope it gets better because I really, really do. It kills me.
That's a decision only Mike Tag can make. You have to enter, reflect. Me, I would love to be a season ticket holder if I was closer to Texas. Yeah. Because the convenience of just going right across there and going to the games, and then the fact that my wife and I like to do a whole bunch of other stuff, cruises, stuff like that. But if I was closer to Texas,
I think you have a challenge because where you live logistically, I have a direct flight. I can take Southwest to Dallas. If I book it right, I can get there cheap. You're a little bit more of a challenge where you're at too. That's probably hard.
But the Cowboys, regardless, I'm never going to give up on them because I've never looked at the Cowboys from the top of the organization down. I've always looked at the Cowboys from the coach down. And that's where my passion lies. Yes. If I met Jerry Jones today, I'd say, "How you doing, Jerry?" And I'd say, "Can I ask you a question?" And I'd ask him, and I would be blunt. I wouldn't be disrespectful, but I'd be blunt. But you wouldn't see me saying, "I'm with Jerry Jones." No, the hell I won't. So my passion is with the Cowboys organization. And anybody who's a season ticket holder, I can imagine your dilemma. I can imagine because that is an expensive situation, especially when you don't live in the state. And not only that, the games that you don't go to, where you typically could sell your tickets and at least make, if not what you put in it, close to it, all of a sudden the organization is not doing well and people really don't buy those tickets. Now that's a lost investment. So either you just say, I'm just going to accept the loss because I'm passionate for the Cowboys and I'm moving forward regardless, and we will come out of this sooner or later. Or you skip and miss a year, but then you say, damn, I skipped this year and look, now we're winning. So it's just something, that it takes that person themselves to have to figure out. Nobody can tell that person what to do because that's their passion. But I tell you, I really hope, and only because the season hasn't started, we're always going to have some faith in the Cowboys before the season started because they haven't played the game in 2025 yet. And you always think, well, regardless of all this stuff going on, and we still got time, Jerry might change his mind. He might slip and fall and break his hip, and that changes him. Or the new coach comes in, they may be up there right now telling them they're going to take authority. You never know until the season starts. So we won't know until we get within about the game 4 of the season where we think the Cowboys are going. So right now we have no choice but to keep hope alive.
Yeah. And I love road games too. I do go to as the road games I could get to. It's just the convenience of the Cowboys, like I said, is like, they play the Chiefs, they play the Packers. They got a great home schedule, so that's probably leaning me into giving them one more shot and see what happens because their home schedule is good. And you have to understand, it is I always say this: the going to the game is icing on the cake.
Yes.
For me, like getting the tailgate with fans and being able to hang. I live in Florida, and Greg, you appreciate this too. We don't live in Dallas, so I don't have friends who are Cowboys fans that live around me. So I don't. That's why I love this podcast, is because I'm able to interact. There's 500 people watching and chatting and doing this up. I got 500, hopefully, Cowboy fans, probably a few Eagles in there. That's fine. But I got a lot of Cowboy fans that I'm able to, get pissed off with, get excited with, get happy, whatever it is, and be able to talk to Greg. I mean, if it wasn't for a lot of this, Greg and I wouldn't be friends. So, I mean, to be friends with you and Kelly and Cuts and Mark and Bugsy and Steve and all these guys, I mean, that's where I haven't, I would miss all that. So that's the dilemma that you're in, because I saw in the chat, Jerry needs to feel the pain. Don't get your tickets and this and that. But I mean, ultimately, they're going to sell the tickets to the opposing team or to a Cowboys fan. So I'm not going to dent them. The TV revenue is where they get all their money. I promise you.
Yes.
Going to the game, they make some money, but the TV is where their money is at. And so anyway, it's tough. But I've got to think about it. I think I'm probably going to commit for one more year, primarily because of the schedule.
Because of the schedule, yeah.
The schedule's it's too good for me to pass up to see some of these games that I'd like to see. So, and our tailgate's way the hell better than the games. And hopefully we'll be able to do a tailgate party. Kelly's a little bit more, he's on the other side than I am. I think, he said he's pretty much done. So I don't know. I don't know if Kelly will go to the tailgate. We might have to, we'll figure it out. I know Cuts will be there. Cuts ain't going to let me down. Yeah. And he's the cook. He's the chef. And I know Jeff is running others. So,
what people don't realize too is that tailgate that we had this year, the annual tailgate, we won tailgate of the day.
Yes.
And some of the Cowboy staff rode around in the golf cart just to come down and tell you that, and said, you guys have been selected as tailgate of the day. And as a result, we're bringing Rowdy here in a few so he can come celebrate with you. So the Cowboys Cave is on it, and the tailgate is most definitely on it. And this was a great tailgate that we had, and we had a lot of fans there. My wife was there. She got to meet everybody's wives and meet other players. BB, the father, was there. I mean, it was a great time. His food was off the chain. Cuts can cook. Bottom line, next time I go to San Antonio, and he's definitely on the list to go and see Cuts. And Cuts is the kind of brother, just you go see Cuts. Cuts say, let's break some bread. And and he can throw it down too. So I can't wait for that.
No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do the tailgate party. We talked about possibly, doing it where we're just hanging out, like, not rushing to go in like we did before. And some people just stay out there and watch the game or whatever. So we'll figure it out. We can't do anything until the schedule. So that's never going to change. I mean, my love for the Cowboy players, that's where my love is. We talked about with the tailgate. I know Terrence Parsons, he said, man, I will be there. I talked to some former players that missed out. They like, man, we're going to definitely check it out. So it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We might have to get a venue. I mean, we might have to find a spot across the street and just have it done up right and get some TVs and do the whole thing up. So we're going to do it up right. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that was one of my dreams of the tailgate as a kid. I always wanted a tailgate with the Cowboys. Now, Jerry don't make it easy on us. It kind of pisses me off. That's why I'm thinking we might need to get an outside venue. But I know Mooney's coming in. He's bringing the wheels of steel. Going to be bringing them turntables. We're going to have some music. Every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So Cowboys Nation, stay tuned for it. And we will be getting it. So I appreciate it. Also, you see me with my Cuts by Jones wherever I'm at there. Always got to show him love. You see the amazing cuts he's doing. I talked to him. He's getting a website built up, so it'll be an easier way for you to get them cuts. And I did see a message from Bobby, or no, not from Bobby, from Carl, the other Eagle fan. Cuts ain't doing no Eagles cuts. I said, you don't even ask him, because that ain't happening. We got a solid contract. There will be no Eagles cuts being done unless you pay top dollar. I'll let it slide.
And when he makes something that says the Eagles, he's gonna spell it ELGLES, just like y'all spell it, Eagles. I'm a hater because my team ain't won in 29 years. Hell, y'all ain't won in 60 years. You only got one Super Bowl.
One Super Bowl, but no. So we're wrapping it up, man. We appreciate everyone for hanging for the hour and a half. I'm glad the phones are working. We got some calls in. I love taking calls. It gives me the opportunity to talk to you guys. I'm more of a, as you guys can see on the mic, I'm more of a talker than a typer. I leave the typing up to Kelly. Kelly, he handles all that stuff on Twitter. I'll stick with talking on a mic. So we'll see what happens. But guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the support, all the new subscribers, man. 500. I'm looking 510 of you guys hanging in the chat, watching. Stop for a minute when the show is over. Hit that subscribe. You see my little mug in the bottom corner. You can hit it there or just at the end do it. And more importantly, if you guys do your boy a favor, if you love Mike Tag and you love the Cowboys Cave, stop when it's over. Go over to the YouTube page and hit that thumbs up, man. The more likes, the more it goes into the analytics, and it gets to more eyes. People who aren't familiar with the cave, they get to see us for the first time, and then hopefully they fall in love with the show. So I appreciate it. Greg, as always, I'll give you the final word, and then we'll bounce out of here.
So, Cowboys Nation, that passion and that love for our Cowboys will never, ever die. And y'all know that. We'll take it to our grave. We also are realistic about our management and things that aren't going to change. But we can still keep hope alive because the season hasn't started. And until the season starts, anything can happen. So in the meantime, let's get excited about the potential to get some players in all season. Let's get excited about the potential draft. Let's keep that passion for the Cowboys, even those that feel like you want to step off. I respect that. I understand that. And I won't hate on you for that. And always remember, we spell Dallas D-A-L-L-A-S.
Yes, you got it. You did it, man. You did I love it. It was solid. We'll see you guys. Enjoy the football.
Cowboys for life.
Sunday. Take care.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.